हेलो एवरीवन, कैसे हैं आप लोग? सो काफ़ी टाइम बाद लाइक आई एम अगेन कमिंग टू टेक अ स्पेशल वीडियो। जैसे कि आप सबको पता है कि टुडे वाज द फर्स्ट पेपर ऑफ GS1 UPSC. So we'll discuss the history questions and the society questions, and also little bit of discussion on geography questions also. But in detail we'll discuss like how was the question, how was the pattern of the question, कहाँ से क्वेश्चंस पूछा गया है, और रिपीटेड टॉपिक्स भी आ रहे हैं यहाँ पे. एंड विल डिस्कस द प्रॉपर एनालिसिस ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस, हाउ टू राइट द आंसर, एंड सम आंसर्स आल्सो आई हैव रिटन इन दिस बोर्ड. नाउ कमिंग टू द पेपर. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल द पेपर वाज not on a very difficult level. It was from a moderate. It was a moderate paper. It's not that easy, or it's not that difficult, but it was a very moderate paper. And the chunk of questions have come from history and society and also geography. Now coming to the first question. Now let us discuss about history questions first. Now if you talk about history, so these are the questions which are asked. 150 words, that is 10 marker from Vedic era. One question from, now this is ancient, okay, this is ancient. One question from Pallavas, again 150 mark, 10 marker, again ancient. One question from, that is Quit India movement, again 150 mark, 10 marker, that is modern India. So 10 marker 3 questions, that is 30 marker. And the other questions are from modern history, again 15 marker, that is industrial revolution in India responsible for decline of handicrafts and cottage industries in India. So if you see, so there are 45 marks, 3 10 marker and 1 15 marker, 45 marks from history portion, and one question from First World War, that is world history. Now the trend is only one question used to come, like since last 5 to 6 years, only one question they are asking. So we'll discuss the history questions, and also we'll discuss the society questions. Now first of all, coming to the history questions, the first question was, underline the changes in the field of society and economy from Rigvedic era to later Vedic era. Now it is also a very direct question. It is a very direct question. If you have gone through the book Poonam Dahiya, so you will find the answer directly in the book. They have clearly mentioned it, like the economy part, the society part, the political life, the religious life, everything they have discussed it. Okay, so the answer is, now this is the answer. Like I've just mentioned the key words, key points. Now you can write in detail, but just to know what all points you need to mention. Now Rigvedic era, first again for you need to write a proper one-liner introduction about how the Rigvedic era came after the Harappan civilization, and you can just give the timeline. Now coming to the main crux of the paper of this question, Rigvedic in social, absence of strict social hierarchy because the Varna system was based on occupation, but in later Vedic there was rigid caste distinctions because the Varna system was based on birth. Now in Rigvedic, the women enjoyed equal rights to tribal assemblies, that is to Sabha and Samitis. Now we have read it in our ancient history, the women had access to assemblies, tribal assemblies, which we call it Sabha, Samitis. But in the later Vedic, there was decline in the status of women because they lost access to Sabha and Samiti. Now child marriage sati system did not exist in the Rigvedic, but when it comes to later Vedic, there are rare instances of sati and child marriage, not on a very full-fledged scale, but there are instances. It was rare, but there was instances. Now sati, we get the first evidence of sati in the Iran inscription of Gupta Empire, but that is the inscriptional evidence. But here when we talk about Vedic, there are the literary evidences are more in Vedic. That is why we say there are some instances of sati, but it is a literary evidence. No need to write here. And women received education in the Rigvedic era, but only few women received education in the later Vedic. So this is how you have to write, because it is a 10 marker question, so you need to be very precise and you need to be very crisp in your answer. You need to just clear out the points, write intro in one line, clear out the points, and write a proper conclusion. You can write ki, yeah, the Rigvedic society was not that much patriarchal, but in the later Vedic the society became very rigid and the patriarchy system in a way started to enter into the society. Fine. Now coming to the next question. Now the next question is, estimate the contribution of Pallavas of Kanchi for the development of art and literature of South India. So here the question is directly on Pallava dynasty. Now Pallava dynasty is famous for art and architecture because the initial style of Dravidian architecture in a way started from Pallava. So you need to mention the names of their 4 different styles with some examples, and also that is the art and architecture part, and now also you need to give some examples from literature. Now these are the questions which are very direct, but you need to remember the facts so that you can point out the facts, you can write the examples and score marks, because these are very mark fetching in nature, because it is highly factual in nature. So if you write the correct fact, you will get the mark, because it has very less scope of any kind of analysis here, because history is a factual subject. Yes, there are analytical questions, but when it comes to this question, it is very factual. So here again 150 words, 10 marker. So okay, we have forgotten the economy part of Rigvedic and later Vedic, because they have asked both society and economy. Economy also we can continue over here. Economy is mainly it was pastoral, Rigvedic, supported by agriculture, but when it comes to later Vedic, the chief occupation was agriculture, supported by pastoralism. So here in Rigvedic there is barley, java were the only grain grown, but here other grains are grown like rice, wheat, millets, sugarcane, etc. In Rigvedic, cattle was the chief measure of wealth, but here cattle lost its importance and land emerged as the important source of wealth. There was no concept of private property based on land ownership, but when it comes to later Vedic, there was land emerged as the important measure of wealth, because in Rigvedic there was no that kind of concept of private property. Rigvedic people knew a metal called ayas, which there is a special metal. It was either copper or bronze. It was not iron. But when it comes to later Vedic, there was beginning of iron. We call it as the later Vedic as 1000 BC. That is, later Vedic is 1000 BC. 1000 BC to around 600 or 700 BC. Rigvedic is 1500 to 1000 BC. So this is called as the Iron Age, because iron was found here, and that iron is called as Krishna Ayas. So the question asked about the economy and also the social life. So this is how you have to write, because it's a 10 marker question. You can write it this way also, because you will be having only 2 pages. Now coming to the next question, that is Pallava. Now this is Pallavas of Kanchi, right? So you can write one line about the intro part, like the timeline. I always suggest to write the timeline, and if you know the capital also you can write. The capital is in Kanchi, Tamil Nadu. Okay, contribution, first of all art, because they have asked about art and literature. So first of all about art. So again, it is because it is a 10 marker, so we cannot keep on explaining everything, because it's a 10 marker. We have a word limit stipulation, that is 150 words. So just we need to write pointers. So art, Pallava temple architecture, beginning of Dravidian temple architecture, 4 different style: Mahindra style, Mamala style, Rajsimha style, Aparajita style. You can give the timelines here. And there was a transition, like if you see the styling from here to Rajsimha and Aparajita, there was a transition from rock cut to freestanding temples. I've given the 4 examples: Shore Temple, Kanchi Kailashnath Temple, Pancharatha Temples, and Arjuna Penas at Mahabalipuram. So these are the examples you can write. See, the thing is, if it is a 250 word question, then you can keep on explaining also 2 lines on each style. But here you do not have that scope, because the question is about art and also the literature aspect. So we need to quickly move to the literature aspect. So Pallava literature. In Pallava literature, Sanskrit was the official language. So the main language was Sanskrit, and there was very increase in Sanskrit learning at that point of time. So there was a very renowned university in Kanchi where there was expansion of Sanskrit education center. A famous poet Bharvi and Dandin were very famous poet. Now here again, if it is a very factual question, I just said it is a very factual question, so you need to give some fact also. So you have to write here, your prelims knowledge will come into play. How much prelims knowledge you have, because these are all prelim factor, prelims individual stuff which we read. So Kriya Tarjunia was written by Bharvi. Dandin wrote Daskumara Charitra. Kavya Darsha is very famous. It can be asked in next year prelims, because they usually asking nowadays, since last 2 to 3 years, they're asking questions from poetry and literature and stuff. Now another famous Sanskrit book was Matta Vilasa Prahasanam by Mahendra Varnam 1. Now if I am writing something about Sanskrit, then also we need to write something about Tamil literature, because they are famous for Tamil also. So Tamil literature also flourished. Here Alvars and Nayanars were the one who played a major role in flourishing the Tamil literature. So they wrote devotional songs also, and that was that era. At that point of time, we can say there was the start of Bhakti movement in South India. So I'm giving 2 dimensions here, that one from a Sanskrit point of view and one from a Tamil point of view. So this is how we have to write the answer in a 10 marker question, because we have a lot of stuffs to write, but the thing is there is a restriction on us. We can't write everything, and we can't keep on explaining everything, because it is a 10 marker question. That is how they will test your writing skills, how you are giving the information in a very like, how do I say, in a very very short manner, or in a very, like, you put everything but in a very short way. That is how you need to do. That is, you can say, crisp, in a very crisp manner. Okay, fine. Next question. Okay, next question. Let's see the question first. Next question is, what are the events that led to the Quit India movement of 1942, and also point out its results. Now again, see, it can be made into a 250 word also, because the events, it is asking for the event, that is one part, and also point out its results, means the outcomes, what happened after the movement or during the movement when it started, what are the outcomes, because the movement lasted for around 3 years, 1942 to 1945. So again, they are testing simply. See, mains is all about how you design your answer. See, the reason why they have kept 10 questions for 10 marker and 10 questions for 15 marker. So because they want to test something. So these are the questions where they'll test. See, the questions are easy. The questions are easy. You may think the questions are easy, but you are not. Some students don't understand it, because it is simply a 10 marker. So you need to write everything, that too in a 150 word thing. Like, we write and come, but we don't think we have, are we adhering to the word limit? That is most important. Questions are easy. We have written everything, but we are not adhering to the word limit. That is the biggest problem where aspirants face, because we have the knowledge, we keep on writing. Okay, so so the answer is, I've just given an overview. So these are the events that led to the Quit India movement, failure of Cripps mission of 1942. Now there was World War II shortage and inflation was going on, so that was also one of the reason. The British also initial faced a defeat, and that gave a boost to the Indians to start a movement. And people began to withdraw their deposits from the banks because the trust of the Indians with the British was an all-time low. And also growing nationalism. That was a time, early 1940s, where a lot of leaders have given their last 20-25 years into the nationalist ideas and everything, and they had a huge kind of following among the masses, be it you can say Rajendra Prasad, Mahatma Gandhi, Ambedkar, everything. A lot of personalities were there, Vallabhbhai Patel. So growing nationalism and the influence of leaders. In example, you can say Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi just said do or die. So it was immediately that turned into a movement, spontaneous movement. Suddenly people came into the roads and started the movement, because that was the effect Mahatma Gandhi had on the people of India. So that influence. Now these are the events that led to the Quit India movement. Now these are the results. Immediately suppression of communication, press, everything was suppressed. Very nicely they were suppressed by the British. Okay. And now because the press also communication, so secret radio also started. You can no need to write here, just if it is again it depends on the word limit. If it's a 250 word, you can just write one more line. So secret Congress radio also started, because the press and communication was suppressed. Big leaders were arrested. Big leaders immediately on the like 8th August it started, on the morning 9th August big leaders were arrested till 1945. But yes, Mahatma Gandhi returned after his jail term in 1944. But most of the leaders were there till 1945, till the Wavell Plan came. And the plan was discussed in Shimla Conference, because Shimla Conference is the official end to the Quit India movement. This you can also write here. Economic disruption happened due to strikes, protest. Now this movement got a very big international attention, and there is a shift in British approach also. And the shift in British approach was that British now came to know that the independence has to be given. Yeah, it took time. It took 2 more years, but till then that approach, and also there was a change in government also in the British. So that kind of movement gave an effect on the British to change its approach or change its policy and starting the process of discussions and giving independence. And in a way it created a path for independence of India. So this is how you have to write, because it is again a 10 marker. So you have to be very, so I've mentioned that only 10 marker question here because of the reason you just need to take out the points and write it in a very crisp manner. Coming to the next question. So 3 questions are done from history. Now one more 15 marker is there. We'll discuss it from modern history. So because 45 marks were straight from history. Now next question is how far was the Industrial Revolution in England responsible? Industrial Revolution in England responsible for decline of handicraft and cottage industries in India. So this is also a very direct question. A lot of times I've also discussed in class how the Industrial Revolution, because see, the Industrial Revolution happened in England. So that was the reason why they saw India as a source of raw materials. So Industrial Revolution because of this Industrial Revolution in England, it happened around 1780s, 1790s, and it kept on going. Okay, 1800, 1810, 1820s, 1830s. It was not a 1 year or 2 years. It's a revolution which was going on. So because of this, the India was seen as a source of raw materials which can't be grown in Britain because of climatic conditions. So like cotton, indigo, etc. So India as a source of raw materials. So that is the reason why they started their land settlement policies. Land settlement policies through permanent settlement, Rayotwari and Mahalwari, where they're forced to do cash crops. So they are forced to do cash crops because which is nothing but commercialization of agriculture. Which is nothing but commercialization of agriculture. So these are the things, because to this extent they went. The question is how much extent? This extent they did it. 1793, 1820, 1822, different parts of India they did it, just to create these cash crops, and these cash crops can be used in the industrial revolution in Britain. And also they started policies of one-way free trade. One-way free trade policy around 1813. Now this one-way free trade policy, what happens is products will come to India, but our products can't go outside. So in a way, our own domestic industries got hugely damaged, okay, because of one-way free trade. And also monopoly of East India Company. The monopoly started from Regulating Act 1773, Pitt's India Act 1784, and also Charter Act of 1793 gave the ultimate monopoly. Obviously after 1813 the monopoly started to decrease, and 1833 Charter Act it completely decreased when it comes to economic things or commercial things, but still then these are the years when monopoly was there. So these are the extent to which they went of making India which led to deindustrialization of our textile industry, cotton industry. Okay, so this is how you have to write the answers. Now these are very common questions. Now the questions are actually easy. I'll say the questions are not that difficult. If you see the last year or 2 to 3 years questions are easy. Now we'll discuss about the society questions. Now before going to society questions, I just want to tell one thing. These society questions are very generic in nature, okay, because the answers will be very subjective, because the analysis will be different, the language will be also different, because there are sociology optional students who will write in their own language, and there are non-sociology optional students who will write in their own language. I'm not comparing it, and it hardly creates any difference here in GS1, but it will create a difference in optional, but here it will not create a difference, but at least you need to understand what is asked, okay, because the questions they are asking, the topics are repeated every year. If you see the last 3 to 4 year questions, the topics are repeated. The questions format may be different, but the topics are repeated. So for example, okay, question number 8. Distinguish between gender equality, gender equity and women empowerment. Now, women empowerment, gender issues, these are all very direct questions. These are all very direct questions which like you need to prepare your own notes, and you need to write depending on the question which is asked. For example, here it is asked what is the difference between gender equality, gender equity and women empowerment. See, all are very thinly related, but you need to exactly write what are the exact difference with giving some examples also, and also you can give some recent related schemes. Why it is important to take gender concerns into account in program design and implementation? Yes, because every gender plays a part in the nation's development. Okay, and our female workforce is also very less. Now, just think if female workforce also doubles or becomes equal to men. So ultimately, it will help the India to grow on a very big level. That too, it will help in increasing the India's GDP. So here, a lot of things you can write. Again, it is a 10 marker. It is a 10 marker. You can write a lot of things. You can write an essay, but again, you need to be very crisp because these are very subjective thing. This society thing. Here, you can also write about gender budgeting. You can write about gender budgeting. You can write gender schemes. Like since last 10 years, a lot of gender related schemes have been running through our national government, right? Now same intercaste marriages between caste which have socio-economic parity have increased to some extent, but this is less true of inter-religious marriage. Now here the question is asking about inter-caste marriage and inter-religious marriage. See, inter-caste marriage was also considered to be a taboo since long time, even now also, but the thing is it has increased. Nowadays it has increased because of social media, because of education getting increased, because of women empowerment, because of people are coming to know a lot of things because of globalization. So everything you can write, but when it comes to inter-religious marriage, there is still a taboo because of the polarity, because of that social polarization, that like religious polarization happening in our country right now, because of vote bank politics happening. So all these things can be written here. So the question is, these are increasing, you have to write the reasons, but the inter-religious marriages are not increasing. So you need to give the reasons here. Now next question is, in dealing with socio-economic issues of development, which kind of collaboration between government, NGOs and private sector would be the most productive? Now the question is a very direct, it is kind of an interview question. Like what you think for proper socio-economic issue development, which kind of collaboration will be good between government, NGOs and private sector? You can write a lot of things. The government PPP mode you can write. NGOs play a very big part also. Non-government organizations, pressure groups, because they understand their own problem, they can bring up the issues, they can discuss with the government, they can give ideas. Okay, giving ideas is also a kind of collaboration. Collaboration is not only funding. So we can take the private sector for funding, for the expertise, okay, but government should be there because the government has to monitor the private sector. So private, government and NGOs who really care about the country. Okay, because there are a lot of NGOs who do fraudulent activities also. So all these things you need to write. So these kind of questions are overall your whole current affairs and overall knowledge will come into play. These are not very much static in nature. These are very dynamic questions. Your overall knowledge will come into play how you write. You can write about different PPP models also. There is a bot model also. See, again, it is a 10 marker. So you just need to give, and again you need to write which is the most productive. Now see, we can't say only private sector will be the productive. If you ask me, I will not say only private sector is the productive or only government or only NGOs. So it is a mingling of everything, bringing expertise from the private sector, bringing the kind of knowledge the NGOs of the kind of work they do through going through the remote level or going through the grassroots level, that also we can take. Okay, and funding ke liye government is there, private sector is also there. So this is how you have to write the answer. Okay, Chola question is left. We'll discuss now Chola's question. No, Chola's question we have discussed. We have discussed it right now. Okay, that was a 15 marker. Okay. Now this is a world history question, direct question. What do you think if First World War was essentially for preservation of balance of power? And so the thing is, First World War, the causes of the First World War, why it happened, and do you really think it was essentially for the preservation of balance of power between two blocks? That is how you have to write. Industrial Revolution we have discussed. Now see, these are, if you see this question, what are Aurora Australis and Aurora Borealis? how are these triggered? Now till today, these topic was if you ask any faculty, they will say it is a prelims. Even I also thought it is a prelims knowledge. You usually read this for prelims. You don't read for mains, but they have asked in mains, and that in a 15 marker. So this is how they play. So we can't say anything. This is prelim factor. This is mains thing. See, there are some templates. I agree, but also there are something which they will. If you have thought of this is a prelim, I will not read here. But see, you know it, but you can't write it. This is how they play. So this is absolutely a very easy question. Everybody must have read it. But writing in a 15 marker, writing for 250 words for Aurora Australis and Aurora Borealis. Now again there is an issue. So this is how they do in mains. 1 or 2 questions they will always do. Groundwater question is being asked, like how it will affect it. Now it is also a very direct current affair topic, always in news. Now for example in geography they have asked what is a twister. Now see, if you see a twister, you may think what is a twister. See again, twister is the name of another name of tornado. So if you know what is tornado, you can write. Now tornado is a very direct question. Again, prelims knowledge. We read it in prelims. Direct question here. Now it has been observed recently this year in Gulf of Mexico. They took that word, changed the tornado word to a twister, and asked me a 15 marker question. Okay. So this is how they are asking. See, what is regional disparity? How does it differ from diversity? How serious is the issue of regional disparity? Every year regionalism question, culture question, diversity question, globalization question, 4 to 5 topics every year the question is being asked in mains. Every year. What is regional disparity? Now how does it differ from diversity? Now regional disparity is different regions are not the same in terms of development, in terms of education, in terms of anything. Okay, you can say regional disparity. For example, Mumbai, Ranchi, regional disparity, not diversity. Diversity is different. Diversity is culture, different tradition, different way of living, different food, different clothing, everything. Okay. So, how does it differ? How serious is the issue of regional disparity in India? Yes, it is an issue. It is a very big issue. Because for a country like India to grow, we need to have even development. It is a difficult task, but it is not either an impossible task. It is a possible task. If the schemes reach there, if the things, a lot of things you can write. We can write about the people. You can write about corruption happening, vote bank politics, different center-state relation dimension also you can write. Different power in center, different power in state. Obviously the problem happens, regional disparity will happen. So these are the dimensions, lot of dimensions, center-state relations you can write, corruption you can write. Now how the diversity also affects development. We say unity in diversity, but in a way like there is a myth attached to it also. So all these things you can write here. Now these are very common topics which students usually read after prelims. Before mains exam they read. Now these are very direct topics available everywhere. Next question. Despite comprehensive policies for equity, social justice के लिए हमारे पास policies हैं, equity के लिए है, underprivileged के लिए है, सब है, लेकिन फिर भी these sections, underprivileged sections are not getting the full benefits of the affirmative action envisaged by constitution. Constitution पहले यहाँ पे आपको constitution के बारे में लिखना है, like rights है हमारे पास, article 21 है, DPSPs है for the welfare of the people. Having everything mentioned in the constitution, still then हमारे hunger index में अच्छा खासा we have a good rank, we have poverty index, human development index. तो ये सब example of current affairs में जो पढ़े हो, यहाँ पे data बहुत काम आएगा. The data you have prepared it, you have to mention it here, you have to write why these are not happening. Again the same thing. Questions, you can see these are all question number 17 and question number 18 are interrelated. You can write what are the problems happening, why India is not developing. Okay. Again the question repeated. Globalization has increased urban migration. Migration topic से question आया है. Migration is a very important topic. Every year the question they will ask. Every alternative year they ask. So these are not much more important for prelims, except some migration report or something, migration convention. But these are the questions where you have to prepare some good answers. Why migration is happening? How globalization has increased migration and is impacting their personal freedom and relationship with family. हम फैमिली से दूर जाते हैं, हम बाहर जाते हैं, काम के चक्कर में जाते हैं, then we forget that caring of parents and everything. So all these things you have to write. This is how globalization has impacted our families. Personal freedom नहीं होता है when we go outside now. There is for example in a husband and wife also there is problems happening like very lack of understanding, right? Work pressure, work life balance, everything you can write here. Okay, next question number 20. Critically analyze the proposition that there is a high correlation between India's cultural diversities and socio-economic marginalities. Again question number 10, 20 and question number 17 are interrelated, because diversity here also you need to write about cultural diversity. Okay, see question number 17, 18, 20. In a way there are some points which can be repeated. 3 questions, 1 topic. When you read a particular topic, cultural diversity, socio-economic disparity, regional disparity, everything are part of one chapter. If you see NCERT, there is a chapter also on this. So all those points can be culminated and rotated and you can write it here. So this is the discussion on, it was a very casual discussion, like on a very, you can say like proper answers I have not created. I have just told how to write, because 20 answers to write proper answers will take time. So this is how you need to prepare for the mains, because there are some 5 to 6 topics which are getting repeated every year from society. And history questions 45 they have asked 45, and same 45 to 50 60 marks they have asked from this, and again 50 to 60 marks they have asked from geography. So this is how they have distributed of 250 marks. So that's it. We'll come up with another video for GS2 tomorrow. Thank you.